All right. Hi, everybody. This is Chelsey from DSM, and I'm here with Julie Brade of measurementmarketing.io. And today we're going to do another kind of co-content creation episode. We're going to talk about what Julie does for measurement marketing. They've been working with us as a trainer and a partner in helping us improve our skills and get better at what we do as marketers and how to report on data in a cleaner, more organized, more efficient way. So we've been on a journey together since about January of 2020. So I'm very excited to have her with us. And I'm going to jump into our first question so you can kind of understand what measurementmarketing.io is and how Julie is involved and what they've been doing to help us and how they help the community at large. So first question, pretty simple, is what is measurementmarketing.io? And according to the website, you are the instructor and Mrs. Make It Happen. So what do you do with that being your role at the company?
Yes, you gotta love copywriters and the way they make that they fluff things. But first, thank you very much for having me. It's really exciting to be able to kind of share with the community what is kind of going on behind the scenes. But as you mentioned, Instructor. So we help people basically measurementmarketing.io as a whole helps people all the way from the one user who just needs to kind of get in and learn one thing, take one quick course and get out and go on, to teams where they know they're going to need continual education. They need a little bit more support. And then there might be teams like yours where it's a instructor working with a very specific team with a very specific set of needs. We can help those guys out, and then all the way up to where we're doing the work for them. And so in that sense, I'm also the account manager. So I go all the way from instructing and doing customer support and helping people all the way through from all kind of different levels. And that's actually one of my favorite things is the customer support level of and helping people solve problems, like kind of sleuthing it out and figuring out. I love puzzles, and so that's kind of where the Make It Happen is kind of evolved from that, because they like, oh, we don't know what this is, like Julie will figure it out, let her figure this puzzle out. So that's kind of how that came into to be.
Yeah, definitely. That makes sense to me because I know you help make it happen for us all the time. So yeah, like Julie was saying, with us at DSM, we've had measurement marketing work with us and our marketing team become basically better at creating plans for our strategy, choosing the right goals, making sure we're making actionable decisions when it comes to looking at the data and deciding what we're going to do with that data and how we're going to tell our clients, and then what we're going to tell them we're going to take action on based on that information. And using a lot of the tools within the Google suite of apps and tools. So that's another kind of portion of what they work with over at Measurement Marketing. But yeah, how long have you been with them, by the way? I don't think I know that.
I have actually been with them for over 5 years. And so it's kind of funny the way measurementmarketing.io came about is we used to, before we actually rebranded ourselves at measurementmarketing.io, we used to be called, and it's still up, you guys can actually go there, it's going to redirect you, but seriouslysimplemarketing.com, because we're just trying to make marketing simple. We had a blog and all these other things, but what really was our revenue driver was doing optimization for clients. We had a lot of clients where we were running split tests for and all these things trying to help them optimize their site. But then we started realizing, you know, that no one really knew what their numbers were. Like, well, what's your conversion rate now? They're like, well, I don't know. And so, how's your sales page converting? Well, I don't know. And like, well, I don't know. We just need to optimize it. Well, how do we know what to optimize? So then we started getting into helping them build it, and then we had to start. We had to help them plan it. And so, we've seen it kind of evolve over the past few years, going from that. Realizing people need to know their numbers, and that's kind of what we've been trying to get out there to the marketing world is just it doesn't have to be so hard, and you don't have to be a numbers person to understand how to market by the numbers. And that's the beauty of this thing. It's kind of basically red, bad, green, good. Go, let's adjust this, and that's where we need to work on the red to make it green. And so that's kind of uh, the beauty of seeing it evolve too.
Yeah, absolutely. Very cool. All right. So the next thing is, why is your methodology at measurementmarketing.io different slash better than the way that most people approach marketing, or the way that maybe someone who doesn't have as much experience may approach marketing?
Absolutely. And this is one of the things that I feel a lot of our clients will tell us is that one, we break it down just in a much more simpler, easier to digest way. But it's because we have a couple of key principles that we go by. And that is, first part of it is our 5 pillars of measurement marketing. And so we have the 5 is planning, which we'll get to, then planning, building, reporting, forecasting, and optimizing. And so those are the 5 pillars. And with planning, that's exactly what you think it is. You're going through and making your plan, trying to figure out what you want to track, and how you need to track that, and what you're going to need to track that, and what questions you're going to need to answer, what information you're going to need, and the action you want to take. So that's QIA, or what we call KIA. And so having all of that lined out makes your build go so much easier. So you know exactly what you need. It doesn't you don't feel like it's taking too long, or it's not going to get frustrating, because you basically just assembling things that you know what to assemble with. Same thing with the reporting, third step. So we have our third pillar. So we have a planning, building, and reporting in third. So that goes a lot smoother too, because you have everything laid out in your plan and you built it in a way for your reports. The fourth one, which is forecasting, also kind of gets skipped like planning does. And that, you're smiling, you're like, yeah, we did.
Yeah.
But yeah, planning gets skipped and forecasting gets skipped. Unfortunately, a lot of people will go straight to the reporting, and then they kind of have to circle back like, well, that didn't work. But with forecasting, the fourth pillar of measurement marketing, that's where you kind of put context. Like, is 3.5% good, or is 3.5% really bad? If you have a range, and this is kind of what we teach, is helping anyone put context to what they're seeing. Is so if a range is what is good, then if you're outside that range, you need to adjust. And that's the fifth pillar of the optimizing. So we have planning, building, reporting, forecasting, optimizing. If you have that forecast in place and everything else was also done, according to the plan, then optimizing will be really, really simple, because you just kind of, oh, hey, that one's red. Well, let's go and fix that one.
Yeah.
And then what goes along with the pillars, the other part of this is our customer journey. And I actually, because I wanted to show a visual, I brought the sucker along with me, is just because this is how simple we make these things. Like, seriously, like it's like a candy land. I don't know if I'm allowed to say
No, it
that
does
one.
look like Candyland. It does.
Yes. So, but it's like kind of you start down in the cave. You're like literally in the dark. You can't see anything. You just need to basically turn things on, and you're going to go through, hey, color coding. See all those are our 5 pillars, our little bots to go along with them. And then you have your 5 pillars of measurement marketing to get out of the cave. Then you're in the valley of visibility, and you got to up level your skills a few, and you go through the pillars to do that. Then you go to the hills and you do that again, and you're going to be asking bigger and bigger questions as you get closer to the summit. The summit is where you're going to see those questions of LTV and those type of things, which are easy ask to, just really easy to ask those questions, but you're going to need so much more data, or different types of data. They're going to be coming from different locations, that you do have to be patient with yourself and go through the entire journey, make sure you go through the plan and all of that, and then you'll be able to answer those questions. It's really hard to go basically come in the dark, say, yep, I'm going to get LTV. That's really not going to happen. You got to do it the proper way. And that's how we make it so much more, I guess, easier to understand, so they can understand, basically get back to where they're going. And now I have a guest that wants to climb up here.
Oh, hello. Oh, so sweet. Meredith is going to love that. She loves cats. That's awesome. Yeah, and I know from kind of an agency's perspective, when we're especially working with clients who might be new to digesting all of this information or actually measuring what they want or what they're trying to improve, like they'll say, the first thing is we always are trying to train our clients to say, you can't ask for something that's not a measurable goal. You can't just say like, we need to get our brand out there, because we can't measure that. It has to
I
be,
love it.
yeah, we are reworking a lot of the verbiage on our website to talk about these things as like solutions. And you have to start with SMART goals that are SMART as an acronym.
Correct.
And they have to be measurable and they have to have action behind them. I'm of course forgetting what SMART stands for now, but I'll like put it on the screen right here between my hands.
Specific, yeah.
Yeah. Specific, measurable. I'll put it on the
Attainable.
screen. So, it can't just be, I want to get my brand out there. It has to say, I want to increase website traffic by 30%. And that's something that we can track. We have to go, okay, well, what's your current website traffic? And then that's the next question. And it has to start with those basic things. And sometimes we have to stop and tell a client, like, we can't give you any data until we set those baselines. Like, we have to get visibility of what's going on. That's why you have to give us access to analytics, and you have to give us these things when clients go, why do you need that? Or, what's the purpose of being able to access this platform when they get, it's like, well, we can't see it. We can't tell you what it's doing correct or
You're
incorrectly.
in the cave.
Right. We don't see anything. So visualizing all of it and getting all the information, so important. And taking the journey and not skipping planning, so that building is easier and that reporting is easier and forecasting makes sense. Like, it's such a difference. And it's so obvious when you talk about it like this, and you're like, well, obviously you have to plan before you build, but there's so many instances where you don't, and you just jump in because you feel like you don't have enough time to do anything. But it's such a waste if you're not taking that time. And that's like a big thing that I know our team was like, we have to sit together and make sure that we're all on board with this plan and the client understands the plan. And then we all know when we're going to deliver deliver the report, and the report's going to make sense, and it's going to have red and green for good and bad. And it's not just going to be a bunch of numbers that have no context. So
Absolutely. And it makes everything just so much more efficient. And setting those expectations with your clients too, like letting them know, we need these things and these are why. And and it just, all of it just it flows together a whole lot easier when everyone's on the same page and understands what's going on.
yeah, absolutely. Definitely. So speaking of all of those things with reporting and pulling those things together, what tools do you all use over at Measurement Marketing for tracking and reporting, within what you train with and what you use internally?
Uh, Good question. We use the free stuff. So, Google Analytics, Google Tag Manager, Google Data Studio are our core three that we use. And one, they're free, and two, a lot of people don't know how to make these tools work for them. Sometimes they just kind of plug it in and they get lost in all of the built-in reports, and it's not working for what they are trying to do, or they don't know like how to set up the scroll or video tracking and tag manager, or how to do anything advanced that they need to do. So it's might be frustrating, and they go to a paid platform that kind of has a lot of bells and whistles, but maybe not as useful. But those bells and whistles can be great, but you can also learn how to level up your skills and use the free stuff. So those are our three core that we use. We do have some paid programs and things that we use for clients, that will, if the occasion arises that we might need something like Supermetrics or Power My Analytics or Analytics Canvas or BigQuery or any of those others kind of that will be able to utilize the free stuff even more. So it's not like, hey, we're abandoning our free ones. It's enhancing those with some of those extra add-ons.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, I know I've always used analytics when it comes to tracking and reporting, but again, it's like a lot of people don't understand what they're looking at. So again, it's like, you don't just need to show everything. It's just those certain things you need to show, and using them for the quality and the value that they can bring. It's like beyond just knowing how to set up Google Analytics. It's, well, how do you understand it? And yeah, the free stuff is great. And it's amazing that they are all free. Like, Data Studio is a really high tech tool that can do a lot of stuff. And the fact that it's not, it really doesn't cost you anything out of the gate unless you need like specific connections. But yeah, it's really cool. So speaking of, there is so much data out there, so much. So why is it important to properly plan? You mentioned your KIA method that we also use before you start presenting data to your client or your boss or your team.
I love that you asked this question. And so KIA, just as a refresher, is QIA. So question, information, and action. So what questions are you going to ask, or you need to ask? What information do you need to get those answers? And then what actions are you going to be able to take? And so if so and what your question was like, why do you do this before you give your information to your boss? And so the best example that I can give is like, let's say you have a new client and they have a funnel. So they have a sales page, a cart page, and a thank you page. And they said, I want to know how my funnel's tracking. And they don't give you any other information. You don't ask any other questions of what they really need or what they're really wanting to know. And so you just put together something of, okay, the sales page has this many views, the cart has this many views, and the thank you page has this many views. And so you give them the conversion rates for each step. And they're like, well, what does this mean? And you don't, so there's no forecasting, like you jump straight to reporting is what happened. You didn't go through and plan. And you would have, if you gone through the plan, you would have gone through the KIA method and you would have asked your client, which is okay to ask the client these questions. It's like you ask them like, well, so, you know, what questions do you have? What is it that you need to know about this page? Are you needing to know scroll, like how far they're scrolling? Do you need to know if they're watching the video or how far they're watching the video? And then as soon as you start asking those, they're going to be like lighting up and like, oh yeah, well I actually really want to know if they're seeing this right here, and
Right.
maybe this right here is something like where the offer is suddenly presented. Like if no
Mhm.
one is seeing that, then and you're expecting a certain amount of people to see that, again going to your forecast, then you know exactly where to optimize. And it goes all the way back to the plan. If you have a plan to be able to build what it is that you're wanting to see, your questions, going back to your KIA, then you're able to kind of work through all of that, and it's really going to be able to help your client or your boss understand the data a whole lot better, instead of just giving them a straight funnel, 3 metrics on a page with some conversion rates. You'll be able to like, and here is exactly where the people are dropping off. They're not pressing play on the video, or they're not seeing the call to action.
Right.
We need to fix this.
Yeah, and I think it's also important to understand that not every company, not every boss, not every client needs to see the same information.
Oh my goodness.
E-commerce people don't need to see the same stuff that a B2B or a B2C company needs to see. How big the company is, like website traffic may not matter to someone. You don't have to show them what their traffic looks like every month, because that has nothing to do with their performance or whatever the situation may be. And it's like, if you have specific initiatives for that, for your company, for your client, where you're only really focusing on like organic search or just paid, then just focus there. Like, don't show them the organic traffic. Like, not everyone needs to see everything. And we've talked about this in our trainings, how certain clients who are very data driven, or who understand data to an extent because maybe they have a stronger marketing background, you can show them those numbers. They may want to see them. But someone who just wants to know that what you're doing is working, or it's not working and here's the plan to fix it, they just want to see like high level, high level, high level, here's the plan. So remember who you're talking to, remember who you're showing the information to, because again, not everyone needs to see how many people bounced off this page. It doesn't matter. But something else may be really important, and that's like those questions. You have to ask tons of questions, so that when you present a report to a client, they're not like, this has nothing to do with what A, we need to know, and B, what we hired you to do, or even if it's internal as well. Yeah, you can't be afraid to make sure that what you're giving away in your report is actually what wants to be received, which is something that, again, all these concepts sound so obvious when you say them out loud. Like, yeah, of course, I'm not going to give someone something they don't want, but it's so often that happens because nobody asks, or no one like leads the charge in making sure there's enough time to like digest what's happening or what needs to happen, or proper planning doesn't happen. So a lot of the stuff that we've worked on with you all has been so like, oh, duh, but now actually do it, because you know better than to not do it. So yeah, it's all really good stuff. And again, I think one thing with our DSM team, how we feel that because the methodology is so simple, it's not hard to wrap your head around. And because it's so like that was kind of silly that we didn't realize this, or we didn't continue to keep this in practice, is even more reason to do it that way every single time, because you're not teaching us something that's harder than what anyone needs to be doing. It's not making it harder, it's making it smarter, So on that note, what would be your advice for someone new to data, who maybe is trying to either create their first set of reports, or they're kind of green within marketing, or they started a new position, or they're
Hmm.
working in an agency for the first time, someone who's new to kind of trying to organize data and present it, um, and improve and optimize, what would be some advice that you have for that person or that team?
Good question. The very first thing is it's okay to not know everything. You have to be okay with being ignorant. Every single one of us started there to, and this kind of thing blows my mind. Our jobs did not exist 5, 6, 7 years ago. You think about it, like 10 years ago, it's like, I'm going to be online helping people, track marketing and these things called Facebook pixels. No one, like, no
Yeah.
one would have figured that out. So every single one of us in this field right now started as a beginner. We
Yeah.
all had to figure it out. Every single one of us. So it's okay. So you give your permission first to be okay with that. And then it's also some we've seen people kind of get frustrated with it if they try to go too fast. Like, so for instance, if I'm not a runner. I would love to be able to be a runner, like a good, efficient runner, like my parents are. But if I wanted to go and say, I'm going to go run a 5K, and if I just like go outside right now in this 100-degree heat and say, I'm going to go run a 5K, and I do it, like push my body to the point where I actually run a 5K, I would be miserable. I would probably hurt myself. I would be so sore and hate everything, hate life, and not go back out the next day for a long time. And that's what we see people do with in any sort of online marketing, measurement marketing, where they just try to do all the things and try to plug everything in at once, and they have no plan. They just kind of jump into it. And so obviously that's not going to work. But if I kind of am okay with being a beginner, I accept that. Then I say, I'm going to have a plan. My plan is to run to the mailbox one day. And then the next day, I'm going to go a little bit farther. I'm going to run around the block. And then I'm going to go a little bit farther. I'm going to run on 2 blocks. And eventually I'm going to get to that 5K. Yes, it takes a little bit slower, but I'm not going to get frustrated with it. I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to just hate life, everything too. So it's kind of the same exact thing where you want to make sure that little friend came back and said hi. You want to make sure that you're kind of increasing and growing your skills. Again, going back to that customer journey, or excuse me, your measurement journey. Customer journey is something different, but the measurement journey where you're in the cave, you're in the valley of visibility, you're in the hills, and if you need to go to the summit, you go to the summit. But if you need to stay in the hills or the valley, that's okay too. Maybe 1 mile is all I need to do. I don't need to do a 5K.
Yeah, that's all of that is so true. I think for just slowing down, you're going to make less mistakes. You'll probably enjoy the process a little bit more. Like I enjoy absorbing all this information, and any time where I've been in a situation where I felt pressure to know a lot of things really quickly, it's not fun. It's uncomfortable, and you feel like you're just set up to fail. Like this isn't going to work. I'm not going to get it. I'm not going to understand it quick enough. This person's going to know more than me. I'm going to look stupid. I'm going to sound stupid, or I'm going to be asked a question that I can't answer because I'm trying to be more or do more than I know how to do. So I know for our team, and for me personally, I can't speak for everybody, but I've really enjoyed the process. I think they have too, but I've really enjoyed the process of like learning these things that I knew at surface level much deeper, and not feeling like it was a bad thing that I didn't know how to do certain things at a certain level. And I've definitely made less mistakes understanding them and then actioning them because I took the time to learn them, which goes for anything. Um, but there's so much information out there, and depending on how many marketing email newsletters you're on and alerts that come on your phone, like it sometimes can be really intimidating to try to keep up with everything that's happening and all the new Google algorithm updates and marketing trends and this and that and things going on. There's so much information out there. So I think it's huge to tell yourself it's okay to be a beginner. That's like, it's like a life lesson, it's like, it's okay to not know everything and just to start where you are and get better from there. I think that's a great life lesson, and it's a great lesson for marketing because there is so much to learn and so much to take in. And so many different nuances about different industries or different kinds of like tactics and methods. So yeah, it's okay to be new, and it's okay to, learn as you go and take your time to do it the right way. I think people will respect you more for that, for
Absolutely.
actually being able to do it than saying, oh yeah, like I know how to do this, and then asking somebody else to do it for you, when you can actually do it yourself and like stand on your own 2 feet and say, yeah, look, I know how to do all these skills. like you're better off for that anyway, taking the time. Um, and you'll create better plans, and then better builds and better reports, and all that stuff will just be better. You'll be so much better for it.
And one of the isms that we have, like our intern, we have lots of, like, we have TBD, trust but verify. And
Yeah.
one of the ones that we have now is get good enough to get going and then go back and make it better. So it's okay to have a very basic primitive setup where, like, you literally have page views, you have you don't have video tracking, you don't have scroll tracking, you don't have e-commerce tracking or anything like that. You just have page views. That's okay to
Yeah.
get just that lit up, and it's okay to kind of communicate with your client like, hey, this is our version 1. And that's a something huge that we use for our own stuff with our clients, but also try to teach too. It's okay to have this is our version 1. Are we headed in the right direction? And, like, and so is this how you want to see this, or do you want to see it in this way? And then it's okay to kind of go through iterations and keeping leveling up. You don't have to be the master right away at all.
Yeah.
And it's okay to have, and in your case, you have a team, and we have our team too, to have you be really, really good at these two things over here, and the other people on the team are really, really good at these two. It's like, so you can collaborate with all of your skills. So you don't have to
Mhm.
be the master of all, or try to be, because there's an ism for that one too. Can't think of that one though, but yeah.
Yeah, but collaborating and like having people who are strong with certain things just makes it, I know what you mean. It makes it easier to you create a strong team that way versus everyone taking the time to be amazing at everything. You've got certain people who do certain things really well. Um, and yeah, with some of the dashboards that we've created in Data Studio recently, the first time we shared them to our clients, we said, hey, this is like version 1. These are our plans to improve it. We want to make sure what we're showing you makes sense, and we're coming out of the gate with something that is valuable. And we're not going to build this thing for 3 weeks and then show it to you and you say, this is not what I expected. So we've done that twice, and they've been very successful, where the client they're not mad that we're showing them version 1, because version 1 is good. It's
Yeah.
it's just what needs to be in version 1. And then, we add, what's the phrase I'm looking for? Conditional formatting, where we tell you if it's good or bad. And then we'll add, some increases and decreases or more data. And I've done that twice so far with 2 different dashboards for different clients that are very different dashboards, and they provide very different information. And I think the client in our situation, in one of them, they really enjoyed kind of helping to tell us what they'd like to see. Like, in addition to what you guys did, they're like, hey, can I see I want to see the top 10 landing page views. That would be helpful for me. It's like, great. That's what you need to see to help you tell a story to whoever you need to report to. We can absolutely do that, and that's no problem. And it's, like, keeping expectations very honest, and creating, a level 1 and then a level 2 or a version 3 and 4 is definitely something that I think people are scared to do, to not have it perfect.
Yes, we've
There's a lot
done
of
that.
perfectionists in marketing, but it's learning. It's a learning curve.
Because we've actually done this before, and this is how we learned. Was we took a really, really long time to show the client, and it ended up not being anything what they were looking for. And
Mm.
then they were frustrated that it had taken so long, and we were basically back at square one. So that was a lesson learned. Never a failure, it's always a lesson learned
Yeah.
of how to continue going forward. And so now we've actually even tweaked it even more, where if we're doing the measurement marketing for them, we're doing everything for them, not teaching. We will actually, in the very beginning, so like when we're still in the planning phase, I will get with them as the account manager. I will basically wireframe out their dashboard and be like, okay, and so that our plan could be even more solidified, and our build can be go even smoothly, and we can basically start putting pieces in the report as they come in, instead of waiting to the last minute to build the report. And so that has helped tremendously as well. Just again, because you mentioned the client really enjoyed being a part of the build, so to speak, of the reporting phase, and
Hmm.
because they're helping to assemble it, so they
Yeah.
do enjoy that part. Most people. So
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's always going to be better that way. And I had a thought and I forgot it, but it's all right. We'll start wrapping things up. That was my last big question for you. Is there anything else you wanted to um, add about what you guys do at Measurement Marketing, or please plug where people can find you and all of that good stuff.
No, I don't have anything else to add, but if they want to find us and like the thing that I showed right here, this is one of our free tools. Like this is the inside of one of our free tools. It's several pages long. There's only one page. So if you just go to measurementmarketing.io and find where it's like you just create a little free account, like literally it's free and there's a bunch of things back there like these little tools. And if you need a course or something like that, there's all kind of courses that we have. We call them win courses because it's what I need. It stands for what I need. So you get into the course, get what you need, and get out. You don't have to sit there for a long time trying to figure out what you need. It's very specific to the point to help you get where you need to go. And then we have a lot of support. I'm back there in the support answering questions. I love being able to do that. So if you have a question on that, the you can just send us a message and we'll be happy to help.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you again, Julie. It was great to chat about all this stuff to help other people kind of figure things out and learn. This has been a fun part for me since my everyday job since January. So I'm happy to share it with more people. And yeah, I'll make sure to include places where everyone can find Measurement Marketing and get the free tools. And I will speak to you shortly.
Thank you guys for having me.
No problem.